either good things or difficult things happen because of the rain. I recall being at cricket matches, IPL, and just rain, 2 hours, heavy rain, never saw even one ball bowled. But we were with a group, and you end up talking about things you don't usually talk about. I remember being on holidays as a small child and hoping for sunshine in a nice forested area and complete downpour of rain. And instead of 3 of us having fun outside, there was 15 of us crowded into a room. And it's a time when you get to talk, it's a time when you get to laugh. Some are disappointed, but overall, rain is an amazing thing. You see it in the scriptures a lot that when rain first came on planet Earth, Adam and Eve was probably a bit, or even darkness came. It was all different. It was surprising. We know of Noah. We know that it was God's judgment on planet Earth, but he said after that, with the rainbow in the sky, that I will never punish man that way again. He cleaned out the system. He gave us a fresh start. Farmers look for the rain. So it made me think of childhood. I think my wife was at another school and watched after the rain, small, maybe second standard, first standard, maybe even smaller than that, just splashing in puddles outside in their break. Little did they know what the teacher might say when they came back into the room, or what their mothers might say when they went home. But at the time, they were just having too much fun, splashing each other, just enjoying what God had given them. As a child, there was a book. It was actually a magazine. It was called Life. Life magazine. And when you went on holidays, or when I went on holidays to my aunt's houses, and it would rain, you would end up inside. In those days, it was the 1960s, and there wasn't much TV. And as many of you know what that's like. But this magazine was the most amazing 2 hours of anyone's life. You would just start at the beginning, and it was the best of the best pictures. And life was in different categories. There would be politics, business, athletics, nature, animals, and we would just turn those pages one by one, seeing places on planet Earth we'd never heard of, world wars, terrible things, exciting things. You don't find Life anymore. I think TV removed that, and film industry removed a magazine like that. But you can find it still in libraries and some bookshops. Whenever I'm looking at other things, I always see that, or in other people's homes. So the key is life. And Jesus, he says that there is a challenge on planet Earth. There are good things and there are bad things. There are people who intend harm, and there are people who intend good. And in this big scope of history, in his created order, it says that there is a thief, and that the thief has come to steal, and to kill, and to destroy. And we can see that in the newspaper. I've been praying for 2 countries, Nigeria and Egypt. If you know anything about what's happening, both countries, very different culturally, are facing serious difficulties because there are violence, death, destruction, sadness, weeping, mourning, bad news. And this can't be a normal situation, because there is a thief, there is an enemy of you and I who will come to steal what we have. He was a liar, he will want to kill, and he will destroy. Jesus, in saying that, says, but. This is true, we can see that even today, in 2013. But I have come that they might have life. I have come that they might have life and have it abundantly, have it overflowing. That Jesus is the light in the midst of this darkness. That I have come that you and I may have life. We can live. We sang that song just now. Amazing song, really. That he came, he lived, he died, and he rose from the dead. And because the grave is empty, he is victorious over this enemy, this death. So there's an invitation for you and me today, even with the rain, the beauty, you see the green, Delhi, the temperatures have dropped. Jesus has come. Come unto me. So he has come to earth, and now he's saying, come unto me. Come to me, all who are weary and heavy laden. Those who are tired, those who are disappointed, those who have heavy burdens, those who have exams, those who have not done their assignments today, those who have had fights with their friends, with their parents, with their brothers and sisters, those of us who know life where there is difficulty. He says, come, it's you who I want with me. So let's say we come to Jesus. What's going to happen? He says, come to me all who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. That's something that's quite welcome in New Delhi, India. Actually, almost anywhere. Rest. We've all had sleep last night. Some had good sleep, some had bad dreams, some couldn't sleep. But he gives a deeper, not just sleep, but a rest, an understanding of the big picture of life. Why there is birth, why there is life, why there is death, why there is eternity. He gives us the whole scheme, the big picture. And without the big picture, you can't really understand the smaller events of life. I was told by one pastor, a teacher of the scriptures, of the Christian literature, that one is not ready to live until he's ready to die. Until one knows what's going to happen eternally, when one knows that, then there is great freedom and there is great peace, there is great rest. That comes by meeting or welcoming the invitation that Jesus says, come unto me, all who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Well, what happens when we come then? He says, this is what happens. He says, take my yoke upon you. Now, a yoke is in farming language. You guys have probably seen. There's usually two. In some parts of the world, there'll be two animals to plow. And they will be joined together with this wooden yoke. And they'll be pulling the plow, and the farmer will be behind them. And Jesus is one of those. And you and I are the other. He says, join me, be yoked to me. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me. So he's a good teacher. He is an excellent teacher. He is humble, he is gentle, he is kind, he knows what we can and cannot endure. He is the master teacher. And he is inviting you and me to come and work with him, to so be it, plow the fields with him, to be yoked with him. Come unto me. Have rest. Yoke. Be yoked to him. And then he says, my yoke is easy and my burden is light. The thief will not ever say, he will say that, but it's not true. For Jesus, it is true that his yoke is easy, but there's so many difficulties. He says to some of his closest friends that even in difficulty, my grace is sufficient for you. It is through these trials and temptations that as I teach you, instruct you, and as you pull your all-nighters and get ready for your exams, as you do your projects, as you get ready for your competitions, Jesus wants to give you the rest in the midst of activity, this long obedience in a single direction. This is what he wants from you and me, and he gives us that invitation. What is the big picture? What is this picture? He says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of God is understanding. Wisdom, understanding, knowledge. Those are what we're here at Getting an Education all about. To have the facts, to know the knowledge. We want to know how that knowledge is put together, some understanding. We want to see the beginning from the end. We want to see how it's all tied together. That makes life exciting. Wisdom is when you can apply it to your own life. Into the mundane, everyday, making parathas in the morning or eating those parathas. Whatever it might be, we take the knowledge, we put it together in understanding, and it gives us wisdom. And there's a beautiful proverb that talks about this, where it says, by wisdom a house is built, and by understanding its rooms are established. And by knowledge, its rooms are filled with precious and pleasant riches. So they're all tied together. This great house that's being built, and you are that house. You are being nurtured. Some of you are young, some of you are a little older, and some of you are getting almost ready to graduate. There's different levels of life. But in all the stages, as you move from 4th standard to 5th standard, as you move from 7th to 8th, things seem to get more difficult. As they should, as more knowledge comes. But then understanding comes. You begin to fit the pieces together. You begin to see the book of life. You see life in the different categories. There's business, there's arts, there's commerce. You begin to see your place in history. Only through Jesus can that happen. It's too overwhelming. There's too much sadness. There's too much grief. I've been to a funeral this week, yet again. I've seen a marriage this week. I've seen laughter. I've seen tears. Everybody experiences these things. What gives us substance? What gives us foundation? What gives us hope? Even when it's raining and you wade through the water to come to your school or to your parents to work, is, I have come, that you may have life and have it abundantly, and I invite you to come to me. How do we come to Jesus? Good question. As going to any other person. You go to them, you meet them face to face, you talk to them. Jesus is invisible. I don't see Jesus. But I know He is here because He is Creator God, and I can go to Him through His Word. He speaks through His Word. He talks to me. So my choice is I have to make time. I have to choose to say no to other things for just a moment, whether it's 5 minutes, whether it's 15 minutes, whether it's 50 minutes. But it's saying, I want to know. It's coming to a person and saying, look, you have something, you have promised something. You have said that you will give me rest, that you will teach me. You will be yoked to me. You will carry my burdens with me. We will share our struggles together. That is coming to Jesus. You talk to Him in the language you know. You speak to Him. You ask Him to speak to you. And so this is the adventure of life. It never ends. Even when you die, it never ends. Because there is life everlasting. And so there is those that follow the thief. They say, this is an interesting story. No, thank you. I pray that is not you today. I pray that this is the day of salvation. This is the day to accept that Jesus loves you, that Jesus has come for you, and He invites you. Be refreshed. Let Him do that to you. Be encouraged. Be strengthened. Enjoy the rain. Enjoy the cool. And the Lord Jesus bless you.